The Strata coaster is so confusing. When you look at a Strata coaster either in person or on your phone, you're honestly just astonished at how massive they are. A Strata coaster is a roller coaster that stands between 400 and 499 feet, and the sheer size of these things are honestly breathtaking. It's like Yao Ming. When you see a Strata coaster, you might think, how do you maintain and operate these things? And well, it's really expensive and problematic. And those two single reasons are why there hasn't been a single Strata coaster open in 16 years. Buying a Strata coaster for almost all parks is way too big of a risk. But will this change? Will we ever see another Strata coaster? Or was Kingda Ka the end? I have a lot to say on this topic. To clarify, I won't be counting Superman as a Strata coaster because it's too controversial. Sorry, Magic Mountain fanboys. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so here we go. Yes, Kingda Ka was the last ever Strata coaster of the intamin accelerator model. So here's the deal. There's a reason why there were only 2 Strata coasters ever built. They were mechanical nightmares. The intamin Strata coasters were made at the time of, well, this term's kind of overused, but the coaster war. This was a time where records defined how good a roller coaster was. The 200-foot coaster came, the 300-foot coaster came, then boom boom, the 2 400-foot coasters came. When the intamin Strata coaster first came out, it was fairly popular. Cedar Point announced the installation of a Strata coaster in 2002, and then Great Adventure announced theirs in 2004. That's only a 2-year span. But after Kingda Ka, nothing. A combination of the stock market crashing and the 2 existing Strata coasters proving to be very problematic resulted in the intamin Strata coaster to end, with only 2 installations. But Intamin deserves so much respect. They were the only manufacturer brave enough to take upon such a risky, complicated, ahead-of-time project. Now, thanks to the Intamin Strata coasters, almost 20 years later, we know what went right with the intamin Strata coaster and what went wrong. So now, if a manufacturer tries to make a new and improved Strata coaster, knowing what went wrong with the original, the success rate would be higher. So my answer to the question is yes, Kingda Ka was the last ever Strata coaster of the intamin accelerator model. But was Kingda Ka the last Strata coaster ever? Oh no. Oh no. I mean, there's a solid possibility for more to come. In fact, I think the odds of a 500-foot coaster opening is equal or even better than a Strata coaster. I think if a park is committed to breaking the height record of Kingda Ka, they would also go the extra mile and make it the first ever 500-foot coaster. Kingda Ka is tall. It's 456 feet tall, which, don't get me wrong, is a very ambitious stat to try and beat. But technology is always advancing. Buildings are becoming taller, space travel is becoming more advanced, and I think it's just a matter of time until a manufacturer innovates into creating a more advanced, more reliable roller coaster that breaks the height record. So what could the Strata Coaster 2.0 or 500-foot coaster look like? First off, I think if a manufacturer releases a model designed to be 400 feet, it would also be capable of going 500 feet because it would create a wider market. So from now on, I'm going to refer to this future coaster as the height breaker. So what could the layout of our future height breaker be? I think the future height breaker could go 3 ways. The first layout of 3 is probably the most likely to happen, and that is a traditional airtime based out and back layout. If a theme park with a big rectangular plot of land, maybe like a parking lot, is wanting to break the height record, an out and back or a L-shaped traditional Giga Coaster style layout would make the most sense. These layouts have proven to be successful and they give very fun ride experiences the majority enjoys. And a 500-foot version of an out and back layout would make thrill seekers travel thousands of miles, if not hundreds. Wait. A 500-foot version of an out and back would make thrill seekers travel hundreds of miles to ride. Now, I wasn't gonna go through the whole video without mentioning the RMC T-rex. The coaster concept made to reach the 500-foot mark is by no doubt a very worthy model to be the next height breaker. It would most likely fall in this category, but with some inversions because it's RMC. This model has had coaster enthusiasts begging for an installation for over 5 years. One single installation of a T-rex would completely change RMC and the whole coaster industry. I have no opinion against the RMC T-rex besides maybe parks thinking RMC isn't experienced enough in making roller coasters of great height. But I definitely think this coaster still could happen. and if not the T-Rex, something similar to it. The second layout that I think the future Hypebreaker could have is a Pantheon style launch coaster. When I say Pantheon style, I mean a roller coaster with a spike or a top hat that rolls back and then launches again. The layout doesn't have to be as diverse as Pantheons, it could just be a spike, top hat, airtime hill, then inversion. A coaster like this would save more space. And imagine a 400-500 foot rollback that's guaranteed for every ride. I think the odds of this happening are a bit unlikely though because of the whole risk factor to it, but I do think how Pantheon does will play a big factor on if this actually happens or not. The third layout style that the future Hypebreaker could have is a custom layout. And when I say custom layout, I mean a layout that is designed specifically for a plot of land. When we're talking about a 400-500 foot roller coaster, it might not always be a traditional layout style. Let's say a park has a cliff or mountainside that they could work with. A Strata or a 500 footer is not going to be your everyday coaster. An example? The skyscraper coaster concept. The skyscraper coaster was a coaster concept designed to wrap around a very tall structure. There has been nothing remotely similar to this idea of a skyscraper coaster. Unfortunately, this idea never happened, but it is an example of a custom Strata or 500 footer. Another example of a custom hype-breaking coaster is all the way in Saudi Arabia in the new Six Flags qiddiya. One of Six Flags qiddiya's new coasters is Falcon's Flight, a rumored cliff coaster that is said to be the world's tallest roller coaster. So, this coaster is still very much a rumor, and like many other coaster enthusiasts, I personally doubt that this thing will ever happen. I mean, like, what the heck is happening in this POV? But the concept does show that it's using the cliffside to its advantage, and I really like that idea. The next 400 footer or first 500 footer could very well be using other structures to its advantage. So now that we've discussed the layout, it brings us to the next question. What theme park could a future hype-breaking roller coaster go to? Now this is where it really becomes a prediction video. It's hard to predict what exact theme park is going to get the next 400 or 500 foot coaster, but there are parks that are more likely to get them than others. Like the first theme park on this list, Fuji-Q Highland. I know, I'm always talking about Fuji-Q on this channel. Fuji-Q Highland is an elite theme park located in Japan and is famous for installing insane record-breaking roller coasters. Now they might not be getting a 500 foot coaster in 2023, the $33 million project will probably be a intamin motorbike coaster. But knowing Fuji-Q's desire in breaking coaster records, I could definitely see them interested in getting a hype-breaking roller coaster. And well, there's always this concept art. Now this thing's really interesting. Some people say it's just a fan art made by the park, and other people say that it is a teaser for a future RMC T-Rex coaster. I am a little bit of both. I find it pretty detailed though to just be art, because the background in this concept matches an actual area of Fuji-Q. So another theme park that I think could receive a 400 or 500 foot coaster is Cedar Point. I say Point Cedar because they are officially obsessed with breaking the height record. Magnum was once the world's tallest coaster, Millennium Force was once the world's tallest coaster, and Top Thrill Dragster was once the world's tallest coaster. Obviously there is some sort of serious obsession going on here. One of the biggest speculations in the whole coaster community is, will Cedar Point get a 500 foot coaster? And keeping in mind that there is a difference between wanting a 500 foot coaster and needing a 500 foot coaster, Cedar Point's lineup does not need a 500 foot coaster. They already have 3 hypers, a Giga, and a Strata, but will getting a 500 foot coaster benefit Cedar Point? Oh my god, yes. Theme park fans all over the country would go crazy if Cedar Point gets a 500 foot coaster. Cedar Point fanboys would have multiple seizures and strokes. It would prove to the world that Cedar Point is the king of theme parks. So that's my take on Cedar Point getting a 500 foot coaster. Energylandia and Glenwood Caverns are my 2 follow-up parks. I say Energylandia because they do not stop installing new coasters and they take lots of risks. And I say Glenwood Caverns because first off, the installation of Defiance, their 2022 coaster, shows that this park is ready to up it up a notch. And Glenwood Caverns is a cliffside theme park. Defiance takes the cliffs to an advantage. Maybe they might consider creating a massive 400 or 500 foot coaster that drops riders down a mountain. Glenwood Caverns is a wild card though because this park is not big, and I think they simply can't afford a major investment like a Strata or 500 footer right now. So that was my take on will there ever be another Strata coaster. It freaks me out to see that my journey to 1,000 subscribers that started all the way back in 2019 is getting close to finishing. Now, a YouTuber only hits 1,000 subs once, and I really want to make it special by posting at least once a week. It's been once a month for the last like 3 months, and I really hate that. If you enjoyed this video, that's awesome. See y'all in the next one, and thank you for all the support. Outro.
Oh my gosh, you made it till the